How many of you are familiar with the names Klaus Schwab and Albert Bourla? For those who don't know them, let me introduce them. Klaus Schwab is the World Economic Forum's founder and the WEF's current CEO. During the pandemic times, which pharma company produced the largest amount of vaccine? Yes, no one can forget. It's Pfizer. Albert Bourla is a sitting chairman and CEO of this American pharmaceutical company. He was made the CEO in 2019, just before the COVID crisis broke out. Because of the same reason, he got a lot of credit for facing the pandemic situation brilliantly. Now, are you wondering why two people from completely different arenas are introduced together? Before that, let me ask you, are you aware of what happens during the WEF meetings in the Swiss city of Davos? As responsible social animals, we have the right to know about global economic trends. This is what the annual WEF meetings are meant for. Do you think the Davos meeting investigates the truth and brings it to the public? WEF also held Davos 2022, and we will discuss the same today. But more precisely, we are concentrating on the things Pfizer's CEO and the WEF CEO himself admitted during the 2022 convention. So all the folks out there, welcome to our channel, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here. Come on, fellow people, let us move on. What is profit in a business? Understandably, we can imagine a really useful product, so people started buying it more, and the company producing it started to make a profit. They got a profit because their product was of good quality and standards. An entirely opposite scenario happens in the case of monopolies, where people have no choice but to buy their product, and they get profit through this. But the difference is that this profit is ill-earned money. Here we look at Pfizer's economic surge during the COVID times. Most part of the world were unaware of such a medicine manufacturing company until the rise of COVID vaccines. Within the initial 3 months, this company had acquired a whopping $26 billion, mainly from the COVID vaccine and new pills against the virus. Whether the vaccine was effective or ineffective, where it came from, and whether it reached everywhere or not, one thing is damn sure: the product of the COVID vaccine was a game changer for Pfizer. Maybe that's why, while explaining future Pfizer plans, Albert said about the idea of sending the representatives to make sure there is no gap between vaccine arrival and vaccine procurement. Moreover, he even added that by 2023, the company would ensure that half of the people can afford their medicines. Moreover, he promised that 1.2 billion people within the 45 poor countries on their list would get enough medicines. That's big. Let us now see what things were shared by the Pfizer CEO during his talk with Klaus. Cooperation was a term used repeatedly throughout their talk. You have to have cooperation with these businesses, but also with the governments. I sometimes feel that very little knowledge the government has on such matters, like complicated medicines. This statement of Klaus is how it started. But seriously, what must he have meant by saying very little knowledge on complicated medicines? That was like saying that the government knows not much about Pfizer, and Pfizer medicines are beyond the understanding of the government. That is really silly. When asked about the importance of cooperation and his approach, Albert said, "It is important. Nothing would have happened during the pandemic without cooperation when Gavi was founded, and nothing would have happened to this world. If the stakeholders don't set common goals, they need to have purpose-driven goals. For example, AstraZeneca partnered with academia, Oxford. We partnered with a small biotech to make it happen. We partnered with FDA to approve the products." Here, Albert is talking about some cooperations, especially with private, non-governmental bodies. Regarding the FDA partnership, they will have a 45% share of pharma companies that they have to regulate, and that's how it works. The best bond, as Albert says, was with Ugur Sahin and with his venture BioNTech. They had signed billions of dollars in commercial agreements only after 2 months of working together. Until then, the trust in words made their cooperation successful. they have made a lump sum amount through this bond, and who knows, maybe that is why they've announced another collaboration for developing the first mRNA vaccine for shingles prevention. This is just so evident. A single world government led by Klaus Schwab and a queue of big business tycoons is what many of the critics conclude from the Davos 2022 outcomes. The government voted by the people is not playing much of a crucial role. What we people need is a single vision government with individual freedom. Some non-governmental, non-democratic bodies are always pioneering in social situations like vaccine making and marketing. The Pfizer CEO and the other unelected official then talked about power and how power operates. There were people who said the sun doesn't rise if we take the vaccine. The crop won't grow if we take the vaccine. His statement shows how terribly he can handle the opposite team. Many questioned the safety of this vaccine, and the protests were also held in different parts of the world. Albert called them anti-vacciners. Really? Questioning a single newly designed money-collecting vaccine? Amidst all the chaos is natural. Doesn't that mean he doesn't like to be questioned? So, does this make you feel less democratic? Being educated and responsible for one's health, it is reasonable for a section to feel insecure about administering an all-new vaccine just by the word of the company which makes it. Calling them hysterical and accusing them is not the right way at all. Discussions on the efficacy of new medicine, the ethics of making a lot of money from this during a financial tight time of the pandemic, an open, transparent conversation, and their search for alternatives. If that is crazy, as the CEO says, taking the vaccine should be the only option people should choose, then a conspiracy theory can be concluded. If questioning authority is madness, then what questions authority? In November 2021, Albert called those who spread misinformation on the vaccines as criminals. So are those who question criminals? If the authority fears opposition, it means that whatever the opposition is saying is like the truth. This is just a theory. For a company with a history of paying lawsuits for malpractices for illegally promoting some drugs, it is not to our surprise that a section doesn't believe in its vaccine. A publication has released a picture of Albert and the FBI agents. The crowd, we don't know why, but burst into laughter. The next day in the same publication, it was the Pope with the FBI. What we can understand here is that there's some sections of people who think that he must go to jail. But here, Mr. CEO is busy making fun of them all. Pfizer is a company that blocks legislation strengthening, alerting the ability to report corporate fraud rather than being a company concentrating on medicine making. Now it's all business. Buying all other small companies, purchasing patents, and shutting down the research. It's the taxpayers' money that had gone for vaccine making. But when it comes to the profit, everything went to the shareholders. Don't you think the government can regulate this? Or are any officials benefiting from all these? Roughly 11 senators and 34 representatives held shares in 2020. Conspiracy again. Vaccine creation was a dark side with no hope of horizon. Then surprise, surprise, they made the COVID vaccine. He was admitting the risk that he took as a newcomer CEO. In the future, he doesn't think that COVID will be wiped off completely, but people can normally live their social, economic, and professional lives with proper care. He strongly said that humans wouldn't be affected more by vaccines, and deaths would be reduced greatly. Vaccines are making quite a good fortune for him though. Moreover, he said, science will win. Yeah, sure, since science is married to corporate commerce now, not correctly regulated. The government has to take responsibility for any issues. It does not make sense when we connect it. It does not make sense when we connect it with their comment before on complex medicines. Is it necessary for the government to take the issue if it does not understand their medicine's complexity? Through the elected government, aren't they pointing to us who have elected this government to take all the responsibilities? When asked about the coming creations of Pfizer, few ideas were revealed. A vaccine that trains a person's immune system to kill the cancer cells is a venture they're trying on. Then he mentioned their third horizon, gene editing, through which genetic diseases can be cured by changing the genetic constitution. All these may sound unscientific now, but for humanity, let us hope for the best. Pfizer research group, as he says, has 5 groups. The first one was the vaccine unit, which made the COVID vaccine. Now it's the chance for other units for showtime. One thing he said made real sense. CEO is a lonely position. No one is there to stop you if you make any mistakes. So if you have made any mistakes, the sole responsibility is yours. Even though trying to make a vaccine with the least expected was a challenge, he was not bothered about the $3 billion in it. The only thing that made him move forward was that if no vaccine were produced, people's lives would be at stake, and the whole civilization would collapse. Thank you for watching this video till the end. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. To find wisdom, create your own views and opinions and share those in the comment box below. How can we respond to this more sensibly? Share your thoughts too. Give a thumbs up if you have liked this video. We'll soon meet again with yet another video. Till then, goodbye.